So what if I told you the most valuable tech skill for 2026 has almost nothing to do with all the AI hype we're hearing about? Yeah, really. Today, we're going to look past the headlines and figure out which skills are actually going to command top dollar and build you a lasting, high-impact career in tech.
I mean, this is the big question, right? Everyone's wondering, will AI make my job obsolete? Well, the answer isn't a simple yes or no. It's a bit more complicated than that. See, it's not really about being replaced. It's about adapting. It's about reskilling for what's coming next.
And that new reality, well, it's built on this one core idea. Think about it. Your job title, that could change tomorrow. But your skills, those are your professional currency. The more valuable and up-to-date they are, the more powerful and secure your career is going to be. Simple as that.
All right, so let's kick things off with our first group, the application builders. These are the folks who literally create the digital world we live in every single day. We're talking about everything from the app you use to order your morning coffee, all the way to the massive, complex platforms that run entire global businesses.
And the prime example here has to be the full-stack developer. I mean, this engineer is kind of like a jack of all trades, but a master of them too. They can take an idea from just a concept and single-handedly turn it into a real, working web application. We're talking everything from what you see on the screen all the way down to the database that powers it.
Now, to pull all that off, they need a pretty serious toolkit. For the front end, the part you actually see and click on, they're using frameworks like React to build those beautiful interactive interfaces. And then for the back end, which is like the powerful engine under the hood, they're using technologies like Node.js or Java to handle all the heavy lifting, the logic and the data. And all that versatility, it definitely pays off. A salary like this is a huge sign of just how much value companies place on someone who can build and maintain their entire application from start to finish.
But of course, you don't have to be a full-stack developer. You can totally specialize. You've got the front end, which is everything the user sees and interacts with, that visual layer. And then you have the back end, which is all the invisible machinery behind the scenes, the logic and the databases that make the whole thing actually work.
And while the front end gets all the visual glory, the back-end developer is really the unsung hero of the whole operation. The source material puts it perfectly. They're invisible, but a very strong role. They really are the bedrock of any digital product.
Okay, so we've got our application built. Now what? How do we actually get it out into the world and, more importantly, make sure it stays online and can handle millions of users? Well, that's where our next group comes in, the infrastructure experts. So let's talk about the DevOps engineer. You can think of them as the architect of a modern software factory. What they do is build these amazing automated pipelines that take the code from a developer's laptop and just, boop, deploy it to the world. It's seamless, it's efficient, and it all happens on these massive cloud platforms.
And to build these digital factories, they have their own powerful set of tools. Things like Jenkins and GitLab, those are like the automated conveyor belts that move the code through the system. And then you have AWS and Azure. Those are like the vast global warehouses where the applications actually live and run.
Now, a lot of people think that AI is going to make software testers obsolete, but that's just not the case. See, a tester's job needs that human touch. It's about thinking creatively, trying to break things in ways a machine wouldn't, and finding those subtle flaws to make sure the final product isn't just functional, but actually a joy for people to use.
Okay, so let's shift gears a bit. We've talked about the people who build and maintain applications. Now let's talk about the people who are using all the information from those apps to basically predict the future, the data and AI pioneers.
For a lot of folks, the data career path is a pretty clear journey. It often starts with being a data analyst. That's where you learn to understand and clean data. From there, you might become a data engineer, building the pipelines to move all that data around. And finally, you have the data scientist, who takes that clean data and uses it to build models that can make predictions.
And across all of these data roles, sure, the technical toolkit is crucial. Python, SQL, Power BI, you name it. But honestly, the most important skill of all is just strong problem-solving logic. It's about being able to look at a messy spreadsheet full of sales data and see a puzzle that needs solving, figuring out how to clean it up, find the hidden pattern, and turn it all into a clear insight that the business can actually use.
And really, at the top of this field, you have the AI engineer. And let's be clear, this isn't just about using existing tools like ChatGPT. Now, these are the people who are building the AI. They're creating the algorithms for self-driving cars, the tools for medical diagnosis, and those recommendation engines that seem to know exactly what you want. They are literally shaping our future.
So what does this all mean for your wallet? Well, take a look at these general salary ranges.
As you can see, the financial rewards for these kinds of tech roles are pretty significant, and they just keep growing as you gain more experience. It really shows you just how much value deep expertise in these fields brings to a company.
But here's the thing. Technology doesn't exist in a vacuum. It's built by people, for people. And that brings us to our final and super critical category of jobs, the human-centric roles.
In this group, you've got roles like the project manager or scrum master. They're basically the conductor of the development orchestra. You have the UI/UX designer, who is the champion for the user. And then you have people like Salesforce developers, who are masters of the platforms that businesses use to manage all their customer relationships.
And for someone like a Scrum Master, communication is not some soft skill. It is their #1 tool. They are the glue that holds the entire team together. Their whole job is making sure everyone's on the same page so the project can move forward smoothly, without any friction.
And you know, in really good product companies, UI/UX design isn't just something they tack on at the end. No way. It's a core part of the entire development process. It's a role that's super creative, deeply respected, highly in demand, and honestly seen as absolutely essential to making a product successful.
Okay, so we've looked at a bunch of different skills and roles, but what's the one thing that ties it all together? The one thing that will help guarantee your success no matter which path you end up choosing. Let's talk about your real, enduring advantage. At the end of the day, this is the one truth that cuts through all the hype. Technologies are going to change, job titles will evolve, but as the source material says, one thing will remain common, is your hard work. That's it. Your willingness to put in the work and just keep learning will always be in demand.
So there you have it. The map to a high-value tech career is pretty clear. The skills are defined, the paths are visible, it's in your hands now. The only real question left is, what are you going to build?